Good Friday. Obviously, we just got some big news that just came in. Before we get into everything, I'm going to ask you guys to please click the like button and make sure to you're subscribed, notifications on, all that stuff. Also have some great deals right now. I want to always start off with this. I just want to point it out. We're charging basically the same amount as SaberSim for SaberSim, and you get Sheets projections, and you get Goldie's projections, which is the industry aggregate, and you get any of my content as well as Roadies. I do all my early builds, my full exposures of where I'm at on every tournament. And you also you get Brandon Cruz with NASCAR. You've got Chan with the League of Legends as well as Sheets. Basically, it's a lot of extra stuff, and we're really charging the same amount. So I would encourage you guys to check it out, especially before baseball season, because we are going to have to raise our prices soon. And right now, we are literally the same price as SaberSim, and we have a bunch more. So just wanted to throw that out there. Let's get after it tonight. Everything just changed right before I came on air because of Cleveland. So we are going to have to figure that one out. We'll wait for the projections to update, but I can pretty much assure you that it's going to be Darius Garland is going to look – you're going to see Garland everywhere. You're going to see Struss, I think, a lot. You're going to see a ton of Mobley. Not that much Jared Allen probably, and then I think Okoro is going to project well as potentially Niang and Wade being okay. Brandon Miller is out. Seth Curry is starting. Doesn't mean a thing to me for Curry's sake, but I do think that the other pieces in that game are kind of interesting. We could do the Seth Curry. It is going back. You know what? Seth Curry is in play. It just feels gross, but we also have plenty of other places to get some value from. So it's really going to depend. I want to see how these projections update before we get into it all. I'll talk about what I was going to do because I had a pretty decided way of building today. I really liked getting to either Luka with Tatum, which was a little bit on the chalkier side of things, but I don't mind it. You could also go double revenge with Kyrie and Porzingis on the other side. I think that's kind of fun. Also, I think they're legitimate plays too. I don't think this is just like a, hey, have fun with it. No, those are actually both plays. I think Tyrese Halliburton is going to be really low owned. And, we've seen with Siakam, we haven't seen the same production from him, but I think he's really interesting as well as Maxey. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens because your guard spot, you're pretty much going to automatically have Jordan Goodwin. We'll see. We'll just go through every team here or go through everyone here. It's going to be Jordan Goodwin and Garland, like a huge percentage of lineups. I expect Goodwin to be about 75% owned. Forget these ownerships. Whenever they get above 50%, maybe in the lottery, that'll be what it is. But I think it's going to be 75%. I think Garland's going to be about 60%, 50, maybe a little less, maybe 50%. But that's going to be where a lot of people go. And when they don't, they're going to play Maxey. So I like the idea of getting a little bit different. But I do like Maxey a lot for what it's worth. But I also do think that there's upside for Halliburton at zero ownership that I think is worth taking a gamble on. Even though the projections don't love him, we know that he's got a massive ceiling. Also, nice run backs in that game, which are going to have some popularity for good reason. Brandon Ingram smashing the other night against these guys, but was a back-to-back after coming off of an injury. Now he's, had some time. I think that both Ingram and Zion are tremendous plays. I have a little more Zion at the moment, but I think they're both really good plays. I think you could run back McCollum as well. And then we get into the Memphis stuff. And right now, I wanted to see what SaberSim would give me. So I haven't even put in my exposures for what I want yet. I do want to build that 150. So probably going to be out of here in about 15, 20 minutes. We'll be able to get through everything by then. But this GG Jackson thing, it's just so hard to pull the trigger on. So I'll do it in the $4. But I just don't know for sure that he's going to play. And it makes me feel a little funny. And all of these guys, I'm just going to put at 22% for right now. We'll figure out what I'm going to do with that. Gary Payton, I mean, look, it could get there. The Gary Payton thing, if he starts for some reason, which I'm just going to double check if I didn't miss any starting lineups here. Let me just see. No, they didn't release that. I think the Gary Payton thing is extremely thin for what it's worth. You guys got to realize, everybody keeps acting. They're like, oh, Wiggins is out. We got to play everybody on Golden State. Oh, now we lost Podziemski. We got to play everybody on Golden State. Clay, Steph, Kuminga, Paul, and Draymond are the five guys on that team. Now, Saric, Moody, Gary Payton are all going to have some run. Yeah, and taking a shot for sure. Do I think it's some sort of a locky play? Look, I'm going to put it probably in around 11%. That's right where I like to be. Probably don't want more than 30, but I'm probably even going to be less than that, obviously. And you also have some opportunity for Saric to do a little something. So I'm getting little bits of exposure to these guys, not quite as much. I'm not overreacting to the Golden State news as I think some people are. I think that Clay, maybe you could argue I should have a little higher. Maybe you could argue that. I think Kuminga, maybe I'll go a little bit higher on that. I do like the Kuminga play. Anyway, so let's see if we've got any updates yet on the Cleveland stuff, and we can go from there because that is really, really important to keep editing. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so Clay, Modi, Kuminga. That's the wrong thing. Game here. Cleveland. It looks like they're starting to update them, but it doesn't look like they're quite there yet. I'm going to probably be, I put 50 minimum exposure, 33, 22, 22. I think I want to go a little lower on Jared Allen. Okoro, I think, is going to project really well in a few minutes, as he's probably going to start with these guys. And he's another one of the minimum values. So we do have the value today to play the Luka. And as I pointed out with Luka earlier, I just wanted to say something. Luka basically has not been below 65 in like any game that's been reasonably close, with a few with a couple outliers the entire season. This is a guy who should be projecting at least, I mean, unless it's a blowout, I expect Luka to have 70 plus again. If he doesn't, I do expect Kyrie. So I like the idea of getting one of them. Right now, you can see my ownership exposure on them. I think I'm probably going to end up with a little more, but that's where I'm at the moment. Okoro is starting. Thank you for that, Lathan. That's what we expected. So Okoro starting, and that's gonna put him back in play. I don't like. I didn't play on FanDuel today because I liked the no swap thing. I wanted to lean into it, just because we haven't had it this year. So I'll jump over to FanDuel for a minute just to talk a little bit about it while we're still waiting for some projections update. Oops, that's the wrong button. Let's get rid of that. Yeah, I don't want that build. Okay, I want this build. Let me just make sure that it's saved my exposure. What the hell is? Oh no, wait. It does have it. Okay, did it? All right, I'm just gonna make sure. Let me just make sure it does because. Yeah, it does. Okay. Still has my exposures. Okay, so let's get over to FanDuel for a minute just because I'm not going to talk much about it after this because, again, I'm not playing over there. But it is an interesting slate to play over there. And it's also like maybe you get an advantage by late swapping tonight. That occurred to me also. I just have somewhere I'm going to go. I made plans to actually have a life for a Friday night for once. So wish me luck on that. Anyway, we're jumping over to FanDuel. Let's see what the things say. We don't have the Cleveland news yet. But judging from, I do think that there is some volatility with Trey Jameson. I think I would probably play Reith ahead of him. I also think that I have no problem if you wanted to go the other way. And then all of these, if you decided for any reason to fade both of them, you have a lot of reasonable options that you can fill in there. Mobley, Allen stand out. Aldama, obviously, Cat. So I would say that Reith would be the natural one, but if you want to get a little different, maybe you could do something else. Maybe you could go a different route. I do like Jabari Walker, and maybe if you're going to fade Reith, maybe play Jabari Walker, hope they go small a little bit, and just hope Jabari gets a little bit more run than he's projected for. It's going to be, again, it's a very similar build. I did go through it because I was thinking about playing, but then I had plans. It's going to be a very similar build to DraftKings today. I think that you still have these same crazy good spots. But it's really all going to matter what happens when we get to Cleveland here. And let me just make this screen a little bigger so I can click all. I hate this little settings thing. I wish I could get rid of it. How do I get rid of it? Does anybody know? Because I can't click all. There we go. Okay, now I can. But it threw me off early because all of my ownership stuff was all out of whack. So I think that it's going to be better than this. I think that Garland is going to be a priority. I think after him, I would go Mobley. Mobley, Struss, Allen, somewhere in that range. And I think Niang is going to look better a little bit in a few minutes once these projections do officially update, which they have not yet. Looks like they're getting closer, though, because I can see some changes being made. All right. And then the other stuff is just about the Memphis. I think I would unless you're running something back, which again, I think Anthony Simons is a tremendous play tonight. Unless you're running something back, I would keep it to 3. Memphis guys, they do have enough bodies, and we have no idea how much Watanabe is going to play. We don't know about Jake LaRavia getting how much minutes. Lamar Stevens has been good, so I would keep it to 3 or less of Memphis would be one thing I would do over there. Also gives you if the one positive though, if you do play more is on FanDuel, you can late swap, and if you do get GG Jackson out or something, you're going to have some flexibility over there. All right, Kamara or Jabari Walker. So Kamara is a real life basketball player that I like. The problem is he's not like an incredible fantasy producer, whereas Jabari Walker is a guy who I don't really have a huge opinion on, except for that I think he's skilled enough, and I think that he is a tremendous upside play. I would play Walker over Kamara. It does. I would say it does a little bit depend on the rest of your build, but I personally like Walker better than Kamara. Okay, let's see if we've got updates on the projections over here. No late swap. That's right, Pingalore. They decided to try and let us DFS folks have a life for a little bit, and we'll see how that rolls. By the way, what a win! What a win the other night for the Lakers. That was probably the best I've felt about this team in years, including the run they made last year. I thought they got very fortunate with the matchups and in the playoffs, and I thought that comeback was unbelievable. And it was one of the times I've enjoyed watching LeBron the most as a Laker, just outside of the bubble championship year, probably my favorite. That was really, really impressive stuff. All right. So again, we do need this Cleveland stuff to update to really get it fixing it. But like I said, you can see what I'm doing with it. Minimum 50% Garland probably. I might go a little lower just because there are some other options at point guard that I like a lot tonight, but it feels wrong. And even still, I think if I could program in 45, it's still going to come out with a lot more. This is just my minimums. I really think you're going to want exposure, and you can see I've got 7 guys who are in my pool right now. And some of them are, forget the projections right now. They're just not accurate. They're not accounting for this. Also, you get Detroit, who's terrible defensively. It does make it interesting because if you play Garland, maybe something you could do is use Cade we only have him at point guard. So you'd have to use Cade in the utility spot. I like Cade a lot for what it's worth. And I like Asar. Asar is a little better position-wise because center and point guard are so strong today that I don't know if I can have any build in my lineups not have a point guard or center in the utility. I just don't see how I can do it. I love the point guards. I love the point guards. I love the centers, and I think there's some good shooting guard options too. So the guard and center are just that's where it's at for me today. So I'm going to be mixing in a lot of stuff in my forward spots. And just to go show you guys a little bit about, I don't want to reset everything. I wish they could sort by this, so I could just go down through my ownerships, but it's not letting me do so. So. But yeah, you can see, I mean, look, I'm going to eat the Goodwin chalk. I'm going to eat the Memphis chalk in a way, but I'm going to spread it out a little bit. Oops. And make sure I get plenty of different paths of it. Let's do 33 just in case. And then we'll make sure we get some Walker ownership in here. Guys, fire in questions and thoughts, because that's sort of, until we get any more projections, that's sort of where I'm at right now. I love that no one's playing Jabari Walker. I think it's totally worth a gamble. I just think it's worth a gamble. Let's go a little bit higher. Let's make him 20. And all right. So let's see if we've got these Cleveland projections updated and the Charlotte projections updated. It looks like nothing's updated on Charlotte. I think Trey Mann and Grant Williams are the 2 guys who you're going to look at. I sort of counted on Miller. I knew he was going to be out, so I just programmed all of this with these guys. You could argue that it go a little higher, but I think SaberSim will make up the rest once we get going. And Sam Merrill, I freaking forgot about Sam Merrill. There we go. Projections update. Look at this projection on Darius Garland from SaberSim. 47. So Darius Garland is going to be in almost every lineup. If you don't, I'll set a cap at 90 because I don't want to get him in every lineup. Sam Merrill is definitely a strong play as well. We know he's shooting reliant, but is he starting officially? No, he's not starting. Right? Let me just double check. They didn't announce the starting lineup. I know we know Mitchell. No, he couldn't be starting. How could he start? Yeah, Coro, Struss. Yeah, that's right. So Merrill maybe a little bit fringier than just an automatic play. This projection seems a little bit ambitious, but I still think that getting some exposure makes a lot of sense. But you can just see how well Cleveland's projecting right now with the updates. You've got Struss at a 6X. You've got Merrill. You've got 6X for Allen. You've got Mobley at just about 6. So it's going to be Cleveland, Memphis focused. What I would say is try to find a run back. We already have the run back that we like, at least the one that I like. My favorite run back, you have Dua Breath, who's obviously, you're going to play a lot of because he's so cheap and he's starting at center, most likely. Jeremy Grant's going to get some ownership, but I really like the Simons. He's my favorite run back over there. And as I mentioned, if you can find a way to do it, you're giving up a lot because there's a lot of good guards, but Cade is too cheap for his skill level. And this is not the same team. It's not that they lost 2 great defenders or something, you know what I mean? With LeVert and Mitchell, probably the 2 worst defenders in the team. It's just that I think that they're going to be able to stay competitive. And in a competitive game, Cade Cunningham at 7,900, where we have his minutes at right now, 34. I'll take the shot on and get my upside, 60 game here and there, maybe 50 plus. I really think it's really likely that happens. Let's see what we got here. Do I like Jalen Smith or Jarris Walker more? Neither. I don't even consider either of those relatively in play. I don't even know how you're building if we got those 2. Those are just not relevant. If I ended up with Jalen Smith, fine. With Indiana's probably the team that projects the worst of every team on the slate today. I don't know where you're getting that play from. Jalen Smith actually makes a little sense, I guess. So I like Toppin a little bit. But I don't even know Jarris Walker's not supposed to play a minute tonight. So I don't really understand that question. All right. Pingalore says, this is definitely a slate. If you gamble on a player, no one is playing. Huge payoff, but who are those guys? Okay, great. See, that's a great thing. I mentioned them. Halliburton is one for me. And people go, oh, that's why these guys are low owned. We played them for their upside. Halliburton can get 65. Like really, no, he totally can. So he's a differentiator for me. I liked the Luka Tatum thing. It's going to be easier to get to now. That was, not going to be totally different, but something to be a little bit different. What else is going to be? Kyrie is another play that I like. That's low owned that I think you could get some. Cade Cunningham, CJ McCollum. Those are the names I would be mixing and matching with your guys. And then on the Minnesota side, we still don't know officially about Edwards. But I am, I think maybe you could make an argument for Gobert because of the center spot. No one's going to play him, but that would be the same argument for Jared Allen, who I like better. Cat maybe, but he's not going to be that different either. So I would stick with the guys that I mentioned as my differentiators here. And I'm going to have to build this soon because I haven't even loaded my lineups yet. And let's see what we've got. We've got 100. I'm going to have to load it pretty soon. So I'm going to have to get out of here. We got a little bit left. Any other questions or thoughts? See what you're doing. Playing dating life. That's funny, MJ. No, it's not actually my dating life. It's just to go spend some time with my family. Like our family's been through a lot lately, and it's hard because they live about 35, but with the rain, like 45 minutes away from me. And it just gets to be tricky to go see them because a lot of them are older. My grandfather who raised me, I can't see him because he goes to bed, he's asleep at 7:00 and that my time on the West Coast, so 10 Eastern. So I'm not able to actually spend that much time with them because I'm doing these all the time. So this no late swap is actually coming, at a good time. Favorite value center. Again, everybody's going to keep asking this question. Reith, I think, is safer because we know he's more likely to start. Jameson, there is definitely a path for him to bust. So they're both chalky. I would eat the chalk with Reith probably before I would eat the chalk with Jameson, but I'm likely going to play both of them quite a bit. All right. Anything else before I get out of here and finish my builds? Guys, I'm going to remind you, please click the like button. We appreciate it. I'm going to say one more time. Really, we have everything SaberSim is offering. We are offering at basically the same price. Okay. And we actually are offering some things that SaberSim isn't even offering that include you get all SaberSim stuff anyway. You get all of Sheets' projections, all of Goldie's projections, which is the whole industry aggregate, what the entire industry is projecting. You get all of my content for NBA, NFL, PGA, MLB. You get all of Rody's projection. I mean, all of Rody's plays, all of my exposures, all of you've got Chan doing League of Legends and all the esports stuff. You've got Brandon Cruz doing all the NASCAR. Like, there's a lot of good stuff going on at TrueDFS, so we hope you join us. I don't think that's the way you play, David. I think that's a really that's a very old school, very flawed way of thinking, because a team gives up points to a position, especially when you have this many injuries and this many people out. You don't just try to target. So Golden State doesn't have a center, so like there's nobody to really target there. I mean, Draymond, I guess, but like I already have these guys, and that has nothing to do with how they are to the center position. You really don't want to look at that kind of stuff as much as possible. Use it as little things. It's important for playoff time, but your actual matchups really, when you have this much value, you're just trying to create something that isn't there if you try to play these guys. And as we sort of expected, Darius Garland looking like the top play on the slate right now. Oops, wait, what happened? Oh, they dropped him down a little bit. Well, they have him right there with Goodwin, Jameson, Reith. Obviously, Garland is a priority. I had my core done earlier, so we're going to just do that real quick so I don't get crap later. All right. Anything else that we have here? I think we're running out. So we appreciate you guys. Thanks so much. Look forward to seeing all you members in Discord, and let's crush it tonight. Good luck, everybody.